This is the 2010 Form A, number 4. We're doing part C. So on this, it's a no calculator question. And they tell us the intersection point, which is nice of them. And so we want to find cross sections that are perpendicular to the y-axis, and they're rectangles with heights 3 times the length of its base. So here's the y-axis, perpendicular is this way. So we know our base of our rectangles go this way. So let me draw one in there for you. Bam. That's the base of our rectangle. Now, what's that rectangle going to look like? Let me draw. It's tall, 3 times. So when this says the height is 3 times the base, you take this, multiply it by 3, and that's going to be your height. It's going to be like a tall rectangle. So let me draw a tall rectangle, tall, where that's 3 times. Why isn't this moving? Wow. Confused. It's not letting me drag the corners. Oh, because I'm off the page. Okay, I understand why. So that's what's going on in this picture. So what's the volume of this shape? I have to add all of these sheets. From here all the way up to the top, they get bigger as you go up. Let me see if I can adjust this here. Yeah, that's better. So the one down here is tiny. The one up here is going to be huge because the base is huge. All right, here's concept. I add up all these volumes, starting at 0, ending at 6. Why? Because the first one's here, and as I go up, the last one's here, which is 6. So 0 to 6, and it's the area of the shape times the thickness, which is the change in y. Because again, the thickness of this, as you move up and down, y changes. It's a change in y. But what shape do we have? A rectangle. What's the area of a rectangle? It's base times height. That's the area of a rectangle. What's my base and what's my height? Well, if my base is down here and we call it B for base, we're told the height is 3 times the base. So the height here would be 3b. So going to here, I would be b times 3b dy. But what is b? Let's go back and let's find b. Let me label these graphs. So we have 2 radical x. Let me make it y equal that. And the other line is the x-axis. Okay, the y-axis, excuse me. The y-axis, you should know it's x equals 0. On the y-axis, x is always 0. That's just something you need to know, you should know. That is basic, basic, basic. All right, so what is b? I'm going to take big X minus small x. But what's big X? Big X is the right side of this. It's this line, which is here. But I have y. I need to solve for x. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Then I'm going to square both sides. So x, uh-oh, it's not happy. I can't write up there. I'm in my the wrong zone. Let me go this direction here. If I square both sides, I get y over 2 squared equals x. So big X is y over 2 squared. And small x is here, which is 0. So minus 0. So all I do in this equation, I replace everything that has a b in it. So b is y over 2 squared. Oops, that's a 3. What am I doing? 3 y over 2 squared dy. Okay, now you could have combined this to be 3b squared, or you can write like that. It doesn't matter. And it tells us not to evaluate, so we're done. This is our answer. And the breakdown of this one would be very different. You would have 1 point for knowing to integrate from 0 to 6, 1 point for having the proper integrand, and maybe I'll give you a point for dy. These might be 1 point together, but that's only a 2-pointer. That's it. Okay? You don't have to get an answer, but because we have time, let's have some fun and get an answer. Let's go ahead and do this for fun. This is y squared over 4, 3y squared over 4, and this ain't so bad. That's going to give me 3y to the 4th over 16, and we use a power rule. What's the power rule say? The power rule says add 1 to the exponent. So this would become a 4, you add 1 becomes a 5, and then it says you divide by that 5. And then we get this. And this part is actually, you don't have to write anything because it's 0. There's your answer though, right there, if you were to work it out. Now, why didn't they have them work it out? It wasn't a difficult integral to do. And here's why. On these, you only have 9 points available, and they ran out of points. If they needed 1 more point, they probably would have given you another point for the answer, but they chose not to. So every year, points are distributed in different ways depending on how many points are left. So don't assume that because 1 year they gave you points, the other they don't, or vice versa, where you look at a problem, it's like, oh, I don't have to do that. They didn't get points, but they might the next year. So show all your work.